and I'm getting ready to show you something about these coordinates. Now remember, interestingly enough, we have an Operation Jade Helm going on, right? Operation Jade Helm about ready to take place. And in this movie right here, it's not the United States that takes the lead role in something. Remember, it's the United States that's going to be suffering the most amount of damage, what they appear in the movie. And all of the peoples, 46 nations, are involved in this endeavor. And they're going to be sending people to China. That's right, China is taking the helm in this role as creating these whatever they are, these arcs of some sort. And now they find themselves in the arc, and the camera, what did I always tell you? Keep your eye on the camera work and listen very intently to the dialogue when they give you clues in those the camera and the dialogue, right? So I will get to the coordinates here in just a moment, but let's see the reference in the movie 2012 to Deep Impact. And why would they do that? Let's see.
Amazing, I'm reading your book. I'm around day 300. The shuttle has just lost communication with Earth.
You're one of the lucky few who bought it.
I didn't buy it. Do something. You really believe those people would behave so selflessly knowing that their own lives were at stake?
Okay, so in the movie Deep Impact, 10 months, 300 days went by after they had tried to destroy the comet into two pieces. But from the time that they tried to destroy it and the time that they selflessly flew into the comet with the nuclear weapons to blow it up was 10 months. That's 300 days. Why do you think that they would put dialogue in a movie like this? To explain to you what exactly the material is in his book. Remember what I told you, listen to the dialogue. They are giving you clues. Now, is it the reason why that they're doing this is because the most likely scenario of what is coming to us has to do with what is in the movie Deep Impact? I do believe that's the case. A tsunami hitting the East Coast. We're seeing a lot of references to a possible asteroid hitting, or even could be even a fake asteroid, and to be intentionally destroying the East Coast. Whatever the case may be, I do believe it's most likely the scenario that it's going to be a true asteroid. And the reason what makes me believe that is, one, if I look at some of the prophecies of ancient times of Nostradamus, if I look at Edgar Cayce, if I look at the Puerto Rican guy, Mr. Amari, whatever his name was, and he's saying that he was abducted and that, whatever the case, it doesn't really matter. The thing is that they reference the movie Deep Impact in here not once, but twice. Mr. Danny Glover, who plays the president in this movie, also references about how they should have held a lottery. Everybody should have had the chance to be able to go onto these arcs. In the movie Deep Impact, that's exactly what they did. And they called it an arc. What did he say in Deep Impact? That's right. He said, we have our own arc. Isn't that right? In the Ozarks, in Missouri, Ozark, arc, get it? Okay, so that's how they did it in the movie Deep Impact. They held a lottery. Very interesting, right? The other interesting point that you see in this movie, 2012, is that the guy says that the nutbags who are holding the cardboard signs had it right the whole time. Who are the nutbags? Yeah, the one that they have dubbed conspiracy theorist. Yes, we have it right. And I think that you're going to find what I'm going to show you here, we may be on to something. Well, I hope that you believe that. So let's take a look.
Everything. Put this entire plan in jeopardy. Good thing for you, the old man can keep his mouth shut better than you. Oh, come on, don't look so shocked. We had to monitor everybody you knew. How do you think we got to the secret for so long?
Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of bankers dying. There have been a lot of scientists that have died over the past few years. Is it because they also were in the know and they were killed off because they attempted to say something and they were closely monitored? Quite possible. Is it because they have already earned their spot of wherever they're going and they are taking them there little bit at a time so it doesn't raise a red flag? Well, we already see the red flags. We're seeing a bunch of bankers die. We're seeing a bunch of scientists die. That are red flags. But it would probably be even bigger, huge red flags if we saw them just disappear all in mass, all at one time. And could be any one of these scenarios. It could be that they're being killed off because they're talking, or it could be because they are making their way to the spot that has been picked out for them because they are members of the elite or whatever the case may be. And he says it right here in the little clip that I presented in the beginning here, that the future is going to need scientists. How many scientists do you think that, since they claimed that have died, would make a perfect fit in their new world or the new world order, whatever the case may be? Just something that I found interesting. And here's something else finally for this movie that I find interesting, and I'll get into my pretty huge information I'm going to share with you here. Okay, as you can see here, allegedly in the movie, China takes the helm. Get it? Jade helm, right? China takes the lead role in this movie as providing the arcs for the 46 nations that are participating. And interestingly enough, they find themselves in one of the arcs right here, and the position they give is 27, 59, 37, 87, 946. Has anybody looked up the coordinates? This GPS is supposed to put them in China, right? That's where they're supposed to be at. But when you go to those coordinates, interestingly enough, here is Kathmandu, 27, 42, 85. And these coordinates right here, you look down at the bottom, 2759 and 8520 is close enough. I don't know how to exactly put those in perfectly, but it takes you right there to the outside of Kathmandu, Nepal, not China. And that's exactly interesting because they just had 2 huge earthquakes right there at Kathmandu, Nepal. Is that an indication of some sort? Is it because these earthquakes are man-made? I don't know. But I know that I found the coordinates being in there supposedly for China and coming up Nepal near Kathmandu are very, very interesting. Now, giving credit to Scariest Movie Ever's video here about some of the information I'm about ready to share with you. The St. John Cathedral, very interesting pics right here. Some of the pics that he uses in his video right here, and you will see on the St. John's Cathedral is what appears to be New York, the Twin Towers, and it appears to be rolling waves coming over the top of the city, and all of the skyscrapers become in disarray. Yes, yes, and right here, one of the bridges, is this the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever, and you see it appears to be a bus that has fallen over the bridge, and all of these other vehicles that appear to be falling into the rolling water. See it? You see the waves, and you see the cars coming down. Here's tires, here's tires, here's tires, here's cars. They're like falling into the water. Very interesting details here that are in this artwork. And as you can see, here's the look at the brakes in the see the brakes showing you that there's going to be devastation. Rich sent me an email here showing me the Hunger Games map. And very interesting how they have the whole East Coast right here kind of underwater, right? All the way through the Gulf of Mexico right here, and basically all the way up to Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Louisiana looks like it's kind of, I don't know, maybe devastated right here going up into Texas. All of this whole eastern seaboard right here is kind of underwater. And you notice that the water comes down right here up into the Great Lakes. I want you to pay close attention to this. That means that your fresh water right there would be contaminated with seawater, right? Now, this is going to play into this, into my theory right here about what's going on. Okay, we're going to be talking about sinkholes and fracking. Now, let's take a look at the fracking here first, if we can. Now, their fracking operations are going on in these states here. What was that? North Dakota, let's see, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana here. And as you can see, 1,000 to 5,000 operations of fracking wells. And then when you get into Mississippi, Tennessee, and what is this, Virginia here, something around those lines, they appear to have 1 to 100. Now, there's no fracking going on in Florida per se, right? So why is Florida have the highest amount of sinkholes? And, well, I think I may have the answer here, folks. Let's take a look at these sinkholes right here. The highest amount of sinkhole damage are the highest in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania does have a high amount of fracking here. It does say 5,000 to 100,000. Appears to be one of the highest. Now, what could be possibly causing the sinkholes? Is it fracking, or are they actually extracting water from if you have a bunch of fresh water on the eastern seaboard and it's about ready to be destroyed with a tidal wave, and there is going to be water that's going to be mixing with the Great Lakes. Now, there have been maps done up by Edgar Casey and quite a few others showing that this tidal wave could cause a geological pressure or topographical pressure on the eastern seaboard, which will break right here, this whole line going up the what do you call that? Not the San Andreas Fault, but the the Madrid Fault. Sorry. So the water could go right up here and contaminate all of the Great Lakes. Is that why all of the water is being sold off or being moved out of there to China from the Great Lakes? Is that why all the sinkholes in Florida and all these other spots is because they're actually taking the water from underneath? Now remember, T. Boone Pickens has a large water aquifers right here that he has the water rights to. Now, this water right here, he can collect water all the way from whole kinds of different places, and he could extract it right there in Texas, right? So who's to say that that can't be done right here on the eastern seaboard? And why do I say that that's what they would be doing? Why would they be extracting water from the eastern seaboard? Now, here was a map that was put out about fears about the fracking fresh waters here for the eastern seaboard. And you look at right here, all of this whole area where they're fracking this way in Pennsylvania, right up over here. Are they really the fracking is not for natural gas like you think? How about if they're actually using that to extract the fresh water from the East Coast? And that's why you're seeing these sinkholes, because of, hold on, that's right, water being shipped to China. Over in California, Sacramento aquifers have been sold off to Nestle water. All of the water that's being siphoned out from underneath the East Coast. But why are they siphoning out? Why does it actually seem like it's all about fracking? Knowing that water is the new gold, would they really be destroying that fresh water with fracking? I don't think so. I think they're actually extracting the water, and they're actually probably doing the fracking afterward, but they are absolutely extracting the water for this reason, and I'm going to show you. Here are the nuclear reactors or nuclear power plants that are all in the United States, and they're mostly centered around here. That's right, on the eastern seaboard, Florida, going all the way up, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, all of these all up here. If a tidal wave was to come and destroy quite a bit of the area of the eastern seaboard, what would happen? All of those nuclear reactors would be, that's right, be sent over this way with nuclear water, all kinds of stuff. It would absolutely contaminate all the fresh water on this whole side right here. But if you're extracting the water, you don't have that problem, right? But now, why wouldn't they just dismantle the nuclear power plants if they knew they were coming? Well, that's because they don't want to tell you it's coming, and that would just tip off their hand. And I do believe that they are going to achieve what they want to achieve anyway. And lastly, think of it as like a fire hose. If you have a fire hose that has pressure with water in it, you could step on it, it wouldn't do a thing. You take the water out of it and you step on it and it will collapse on top of each other. That's why you're seeing sinkholes all over those areas, Florida, because they are siphoning out the water. Thanks, everybody.